Hey, what's up guys? This is Astranox. Today we got the showcase of Landy, the Limited Earth Ranger. And we're gonna be talking about her skills, her memory imprint, and then I'll show you guys her stats, her gear, and I'll do some arena, some guild wars, some world arena, all in this video. And finally, I will review Landy for you guys. So stay tuned for all that. At the table is actually one of the team that I use in arena. Cool team right there. You'll see it in action. Skill number 3 attacks everyone. You cannot trigger a counter attack. So that's nice. That's very nice. And then she gets speed buff for 2 turns. She gets 15% combat readiness out of this. But when the target has a buff, it's 30% combat readiness. When she's at full fighting spirit, she actually boosts the combat readiness of herself and the rest of the team by 15%. So all that stuff allows you to cycle pretty fast, especially if they have a lot of buffs. You can actually use this full burst skill number 3 AoE attack non-stop if the enemy team has 10 buffs or more. Fighting spirit, you get 10 of those for every buff that the enemy has. You're getting 10% attack every time you attack. So if you're triggering her in a dual attack, if you are triggering a counter set attack, you know, Rosa Organa to increase your dual attack chance, stuff like that, it's an attack, so it increases this passive attack buff, and it stacks with attack buff and greater attack buff, of course. So it's actually quite powerful. The question is, will she survive up until that point? Now that's the big question. When her fighting spirit is full, when you reach 100, you are resetting your skill number 3. Hence why I said if you're fighting a team that has 10 buffs or more, consistently, you can keep on using your skill number 3, which is very nice, but it's very hard to actually find a team like that. She starts the battle with 50 fighting spirit, which is easy to get her to 100, so she can actually activate the damage increase and the 15% combat readiness push for herself and the whole team. So that's cool. 5 buffs, it's not too rough. You're fighting Fallen Cecilia, 4 targets, 4 heroes. That's 4 barriers, that's 4 buffs. Then you just need 1 with immunity. Maybe you're fighting Remnant Violet, that's evasion buff right there. Boom, 500 fighting spirit. But bringing her to 100 fighting spirit again on the second turn or the third turn, it usually happens on turn number 3, unless the team you're fighting really doesn't have any buffs. And at that point, you probably shouldn't have picked Landy. But we'll talk more about that at the end of the video. Her memory imprints. Okay, she's got attack for herself. Very nice. You're trying to squeeze extra bit of damage. Memory imprint. Imprint concentration. That's great. Effect resistance, on the other hand, for your team. Top and back position. That's kind of weird, but in their mind, she should be built as a bruiser with a tanky team, and then you're boosting the effect resistance maybe of your support heroes or something like that. So yeah, that's how you would use this thing. You would not activate the effect resistance for your damage dealers with no effect resistance. That doesn't make sense. So just use the self memory imprint of attack increase. Depends on the situation. You could find a use for both, but it's mostly going to be about the attack percentage in most cases. Now for her stats and her gear. Throughout the video, I swapped her gear, and I'll transition to the stats and the gear that I used every time. So that's the set that I used for her near the end of the video. I was using gear that didn't have as much attack and critical hit damage while I was doing arena. I tried her on a bruiser build, and you'll see that in action. So that's her gear. This is actually the gear that was on my 4-star Earth Sid. So very good stats, godly gear. Yeah, it's actually very good. Some pieces could be replaced, of course, but overall it's a nice set of gear. So Rengar special drink. Like to use that artifact. I tried her on Portrait of the Saviors, tried her on her own artifact as well, which I will review at the end of the video. So without further ado, let's go clap some cheeks in arena. I'm going to try this build for Landy. She's on the wall of order, her own artifact. That's her stats. That's her skill ups. Let's try it. Okay, so we got Landy here. Bruiser setup. Double Knight. DJ Bazaar for some sustain. And CR push immunity. Let's see what we can do. Let's do it here. We got 100 fighting spirit. Her greater attack buff did not trigger. If I want, I could wait for it. But I'm not gonna do that because I want to just get that skill 3 cycled. I want to deal team-wide damage against them and see what kind of damage we can do. So in terms of damage, nothing crazy. Well, so far. I mean, she is on a bruiser setup. Over 16,000 health. Okay, good. Let's deal with these skill nullifiers. It's gonna be a long one, but it's about stacking up her attack. It's about waiting for them to buff up and just going crazy. We'll see how much. You can see here, I was actually able to just use skill 3 back to back. Here we go. Her artifact still hasn't procced. We are getting 10% combat readiness when we use an AoE attack skill, which is her skill number 3. So this is a really thick team. Can we even take them out? Should have had her on maybe a damage setup, because this might not be enough. Oh, we got the great attack buff. We got the 100 fighting spirit. This is crazy. I can keep on doing this. If I get lucky with her artifact, maybe I can do really well. Okay, decent damage on Fallen Cecilia, almost 10,000. Definitely not bad. These buffs are really sweet because we got right now 10 buffs. Exactly 10 buffs on their team. Got the great attack buff. Got the full fighting spirit. It's great. Let's do some more damage. But it's hard to get Landy, like to pick her in the World Arena. Maybe they already picked her. Maybe they're just gonna ban her. If they're running a buff heavy team, you can expect that. So that's another buff right there. But Fallen Cecilia will probably go before Landy goes. We'll have to see here. Seem to have enough sustain between Cleary and Desert Jewel Bazaar, plus the barrier from Fallen Cecilia. This is working out pretty well. I don't know how much this lightning damage will pile up to. Now there's not enough buffs on their team. I cannot do it anymore. Now with the skill 1, 15% damage missing. Okay, nice dual attack. I think this dual attack sealed the deal here. So this, I would say, was a successful battle in terms of showcasing Landy. In terms of her setup needed for this battle, I would say that she could have been ran on a high offense setup with high speed, so she can really cycle real quick. This build was way too safe. But if you want to bring a team like this against a team that has a decent amount of offense, you know, you want to bring that team maybe versus a team with Arbiter Vildred, then you will need that extra, you know, health, defense, whatever, to increase your survivability. Okay, nice. Here in terms of damage, you can see that, well, compared to my Bruiser Fallen Cecilia, she definitely did really well. Compared to the enemy team, well, they didn't have damage dealers really. It was Last Rider Crow. In terms of sustain, I like what I'm seeing. You can see that Fallen Cecilia, Desert Jewel Bazaar, and Falconer Cleary were about the same. That's actually pretty nice. That's pretty nice. This might allow us to take out Tempest Siren here. We don't have the great attack buff. She's in stealth. She's going to take 50% less damage from AoE attack. What an overpowered hero, though, that Tempest Siren. Can we take her out with this? Oh my god, the evade, like the constant evades on her. Are you kidding? No, that's it for us. Look at that garbage. Good lord. Okay, well, epic fail on that. I needed more sustain. And Landy by herself, like, it took too long to make it happen. RIP. It just took too long. That artifact, I don't like it. Like, it's not reliable enough. I would prefer to have her on Rengar Special Drink or Portrait of the Saviors. I mean, hell, I would take her on Rosa Hargana instead of her own artifact at this point. So we're gonna attack this Legend World Arena player, Silara. You can see this defense is quite meta. So when you get unlucky and Lilius just calls the damage dealer, the sole damage dealer in the group. Yeah, let's count how many times that actually happens. So my Fallen Cecilia is actually able to trigger this Tempest Siren. That just goes to show you how little survivability she does have. We're sort of like able to sustain this. But I feel like it won't be too long until Ting go down the drain. The Tempest Siren just needs to have the right timing on that skill number 3. And is she on... yeah, you can see here, because of the dual attack, and Landy already took some damage. Boom! She's gone. She is a goner. It was that simple. Bruiser Landy. We got Fawn Cecilia with Aureus. We had a few layers of protection. You know, I think she had barrier as well. Beside that, yes, we didn't have defense buff. We didn't have adamant shield. But it doesn't require too much for her to just get destroyed. Of course, Lilius in here, I knew this would have been a problem. But it just, you see, dual attack into her S3, done. And that's something that can sort of like be controlled in the World Arena. I mean, not controlled. If Aras was here instead of Lilius, yeah, it could be controlled quite easily. And then there's the damage piling up over time. Tempest Siren just overpowered and she cannot be one-shotted. So, yeah, I mean, very meta and annoying defense. And Landy just didn't perform well at all here. I have to bring, even though she has attack buff, yeah, she's on a bruiser build, so she cannot get spiked, like in terms of damage, and get bursted down real quick in like a turn. And I still have time to sustain her, but it's not good enough. Like, her damage is too low. Rengar Special Drink, well, I couldn't be spamming her skill number 3 because they are not heavily relying on buffs, and I couldn't get that going, unfortunately. But if you're looking for all these things, like you want the stars to align, then yeah, I mean, those things will not happen often, and that's unfortunate. So quickly here, we got decent sustain out of the team, as you can see, pretty much similar to what the enemy team had in terms of sustain. But that Tempest Siren just did great, and there was that opportunity with the dual attack into S3 that just destroyed it. But imagine Alexa's basket triggers, right? Greater attack buff. It's done. Like, what can you even do? Let's try Landy with these stats here. Over 3,600 attack, 285% critical hit damage, and health over 10,000, almost 11,000. Not bad, almost 8,000 defense as well. On Rengar Special Drink. I'd like to try her on Portrait of the Saviors with these stats as well. And that's for skill ups, of course. Okay, let's see. Landy on high damage. Let's see. I want to take out this Remnant Violet. She's on Portrait of the Saviors. Felt like that's what I need to take out Remnant ASAP. Come on. Oh my god, we didn't get the defense break. 166% effectiveness, and it's not enough, of course. 15% innate resist gets us good. She did land a crit on him though. Interesting. Okay. So attack buff. Let's go, man. 100 fighting spirit. Nice, the hit. The damage not that high. We're trying to get that attack buff to build up. Oh, Landy's taking a beating. Okay. You know what? Situation on cooldowns. It's good. I'm gonna soul burn this, man. I'm not gonna mess around again with that 15% innate resist. No way. Let's just attack him. He should go down. Nice. Okay. So what about running this like sort of like on auto? And the next target priority is Rowana. If I can take her out, that's great. So I feel like there's not so many opportunities for you. Anyways, in World Arena, it's gonna be too hard to let her through. If you pick her too early, they're just gonna pick fire heroes. They're not gonna pick heroes that have buffs. They might just end up banning her. It's really rough. Like, I feel like she can definitely shine in PvE the most. In terms of PvP, well, I still need to test her out. But to be honest, like, this team composition seems to be working out pretty well. But I can't go against a team that has super high offense. That just won't work. Because Landy's gonna go down. If I have her on a bruiser setup, well, I would prefer Seaside Bellona. But against a Rowana team, I guess, you know, she would be better because there's not that constant stream of healing like Seaside does against Rowana. Let's test her some more. So here we're going first. They don't have so many buffs right away. So there is that. And we have 50 fighting spirit, but we need 20 more to pull it off. We're only gonna get 30 out of these buffs, and actually we're only going to get 20 because I'm going on Remnant Vial. I have Rengar special drink on Landy. Oh, he still has the evasion buff. Look at that. Gotta love, you know, effectiveness, effect resistance, and 15% innate resist. Just like, yeah. Okay, let's start it off here. We're gonna use skill 3 even though she's not at full fighting spirit. Rengar special drink, and Remnant's about to go. Can I take him out? Well, I got lucky here. got lucky with the duo attack, but Desert Jewel Bazaar was going to go anyways. So that was a quick start right there. Now I can sort of like just auto and choose Rowana as my target of priority. So if you go against teams that have a high amount of buffs on Arena, you attack defenses with a high amount of buffs, then you could do fairly well. Rengar special drink will do great versus teams that have defense buff. And well, Faulkner, clearly she's just amazing. Like, if you're trying to counter Remnant Val, but forget about Tempest Siren. She's all sorts of broken. Don't bring her, like Landy versus Tempest Siren, as your soul damage dealer. It is very chaotic. If Lilius is in there, yeah. If Lilius calls Tempest Siren, dual attack into skill 3, it's gonna be done real quick. Really quick. So this is actually going quite fast. And Landy's damage is starting to pile up. She's at how many stacks now? She's been at 5 stacks. We have attack buff. So if you're gonna be running her on her artifact, then you need to make sure the team you're fighting has a lot of buffs, like constant amount of buffs throughout the battle. Fallen Cecilia doesn't work because her barrier, team-wide barrier is gone, and then her skill nullifier is gone. But Rowana, that's revive. Remnant Valet, it's not gonna happen if you're using Clury. You're gonna strip that, hopefully. If you're fighting a Crow, at least you know the horse is not coming Landy's way, so that's good. And she definitely is a niche hero in my eyes, but she can definitely excel versus buff teams. But you need to use the right team with her. Like right now, I have an attack buffer that sustained the team with Rod of Amaryllis. I have Clury for the defense break, the dispel, the provoke. I could have her on Aureus if I had health percentage main stat gear for her necklace. Her survivability is too low, so I have her on Elbrus. And to be honest, like if I can take out Remnant, then I prefer to have her on Elbrus. Triggers that, and then it gives us combat shrewdness, so that's good. So she did perform good here. The battle was actually quite fast, and on Rengar Special Drink, the damage is more consistent versus high defense heroes, which is what players have set on their defense. So over Portrait, I would take Rengar Special Drink, of course, especially if you have one maxed out. Time to test Landy in Guild Wars, and we are fighting the YMCA, who is winning. We're winning, but not by much. That's the problem, man. I have to go against Maid. I wanted to sort of like showcase Landy versus a team that has a few buffs, but this is really bad. This is actually really bad, man. Seaside might take her out. Okay, Maid went down. Oh boy. 11. Almost 12,000 HP. The crit. Okay. I can do it then. Let's take her out now. And because that 15% innate, man, that 15% innate resist is just a pile of garbage. Well, lost sinful, but it's a success. No, I see how it is. Of course, the crown on Holy Sacrifice, just usual Guild War stuff. Okay. Attack buff. Skill nullifier, and should be able to grind them out. I mean, double ice, Spectre is gonna get constantly attacked. We have Portrait of the Saviors. Let's just use it. We don't need to wait for the 100 Fighting Spirit. Quite a bit of damage on that. 11,000 HP? Interesting. Shouldn't get the stun to go off. Skill nullify OP. Don't need to worry about the barrier. Let's actually wait for them to buff. Barrier back up. Should have saved it maybe for debuff. Provokes are annoying. Okay. 100 Fighting Spirit. Got everything here. Soul burn 2. Wow. That's quite a bit of damage.
This is only a temporary alliance.
Okay. Okay. Let's push her ahead. No immunity, man. So, cannot get that 100 fighting spirit. It's okay, she cannot be countered, but we're gonna give 3 focus to Seaside.
Are you prepared for this?
Decent damage.
My past, regrets, and hesitations. I'll sever everything with
This gets countered by... Never mind. Bruiser finds Cecilia for you.
Never get back on your feet.
That's what happens. Okay. Well, if you attack against a team that does have immunities, then you will be able to get an extra bit of damage and a 15% combativeness push from the skill 3. Let's try Landy with this gear now. This was on my Sid. Almost 4,000 attack. Almost 11.5k HP. I mean, we're gonna get 100% crit chance if I can get Challenger Domino's Memory Imprint or Midnight Bloom from my Sinful Angelica. 319 critical hit damage. It's definitely gonna hurt a lot. So let's put her to the test. I'll have Desert Jewel Bazaar for immunity, or I might just outspeed and I don't really need immunity altogether. So let's see how she performs. Let's put her here. That's the showcase. Landy Showcase on Rengar special drink. Let's see how long she's gonna survive in here. Not on a bruiser build, on a damage build. Let's clap this Seaside. Be done with her. Be done with her. We're going for it, man. We're going for the non-soul burn. That's attack buff. That's soul burn. Will she do it? She doesn't have the fighting spirit to get the damage increase. But let's see what kind of damage she can do. Okay. Now that's what I'm talking about. Some damage. That's good. Oh yeah, just take out APOC Ravi. So they don't bring... Oh, they can't bring anyone. What am I saying? Crow solo. That's it. Don't like your Landy. Took out my whole team. Well, he's on Aureus. Let's put her in the front. Oh yeah, we see her better now. Okay. Let's try this. It's probably just gonna outspeed me with the Assassin Sid. There we go. And you're just gonna take out Landy. Showcase over. Trigger K on now. Oh ho ho. No crit. Try to stop the Landy showcase? Can't have that. So yeah, I'm pushing Landy, right? Yeah. I'm pushing her. Let's go. I mean, it's her showcase. Lost my souls, unfortunately. But here we go.
Let me show you my secret weapon.
Come on, Landy. Do something. Do something, Landy. What is this? This is bad. Let's attack them all with skill 1. Let's go. Okay. Already got triggered. That's okay. We can live with this. Landy Showcase. Let's go.
My past regrets.
How long is she gonna live? 2 seconds and a half. No crit. God. This assassin Sid though. He needs to go down, but what about the evasion buff on him? What about that? I have to I want to pop these skill nullifiers.
Leave it to me.
Okay. I want to lower this fallen. Need to make sure my Chiron lands a kill. She gonna get healed, man. Landy down. She cannot get healed. They cannot soul burn. Lower assassin Sid. It's not a Landy Showcase anymore. Okay. Let's do something here. Can I pop Ruel? I probably can't. I can pop Assassin Sid, I think, even on an evade. If I don't... Okay, I got him. And I got Fallen too, because Aureus. Now. 17,000 HP ML can. Landy Showcase. It's the Landy Showcase, boys. Let's attack Ruel some more. Chiron, let's wait. What's up with showing up the debuffs? Okay. Let's go. Do it! Yes! Just gotta believe! Landy Showcase, let's see her damage. Well, it's not too bad considering how early she died. Okay. And she's a big source of disruption. My Spectre is going loose. Then that's good. Landy Showcase over. Showcase of Landy is over, boys. It's the Showcase of Chiron now. Let's go. Chiron Showcase. Eliha's Knife not activated. Elbrus. Oh my god, Elbrus Showcase. Don't soul burn. Stun him. Oh, that would be so good. Oh! The stun. Ring Spectre up. Just work on him. Keep working on him. That's okay if Fawn does some damage. That's it. Take him out. Push back CR. Zergio Bazaar sustain though is keeping us afloat for some reason. Landy Showcase into a Chiron Showcase, but then it was actually a Spectre Tenebria Showcase with DJ Bazaar and Oxlos, yeah. And now for the review of Landy. Let me give you guys my thoughts about this hero while I was using her. Arena, Guild Wars, and RTA World Arena. So, the issue with this hero is when I try her as a bruiser, her damage is quite low. Even using her as a damage dealer early on, if you're trying to speed cleave, you're going first, you're not gonna be doing a lot of damage. So you need to build up that passive. The issue is she's very easy to take down. even if you build her as a bruiser. So if you build her as a bruiser, well, even if you have a team supporting her, you got Aureus, you got Barrier from Fall and Cecilia, you got decent, some healing, not crazy healing. The enemy can just pick like Falconer Clury and grab her. She loses her buffs, she's defense broken, and then they just one-shot her with like Remnant Valet or whoever really. So that's a big problem. That's a big problem. Very easy to take out. Not like Seaside Bellona. You have to bring a knight with Aureus, or she doesn't have damage sharing effect, which is quite problematic. She doesn't have any way for herself to increase her survivability. Yes, her base health is high, her defense is meh, but yeah, it's not quite enough. If I'm trying to sustain her like with DN, then I'm at the mercy of the RNG gods to have the anti-crit buff help her survive. So I don't like that. I don't like chance-based things like that. So that's a big no-no for me. I was trying her and I couldn't get her to survive long enough at all to really like start to snowball. So that's a problem. Like, you have to make her really tanky, like 15,000 health. I had her at 16,500 and I felt like that still wasn't enough. Yeah, she could just easily get taken out of the battle. There's some videos, some clips I didn't share. I did quite a bit of fighting, and to be honest, like survivability wise, it is definitely on the low side. So yeah, rip there. Now, I do love the counterattack that cannot be triggered, right? This skill doesn't trigger counterattack. Of course, Seaside Bellona, even if she's Earth, Seaside Bellona, of course, bruiser build, 15,000 health more on Rengar special drink, is just gonna destroy her. It's just gonna destroy her even if she's Earth. We know about that already. But even if she's a bruiser, like, she's just gonna be helping Seaside counter more often, which will be dealing tremendous damage toward your whole team, including Landy. And then like she's not gonna get to the point where she's dealing that big damage, and that's unfortunate. To really use her properly, yes, you can use her as a bruiser, yes, you can use her as a damage dealer, you can mix it up. You can have her on a counter set. There's really different ways to go about it. But you need to be fighting teams that have buffs throughout the battle. Like constant buffs that are up. Buffs, it's hard to have like 100% uptime on buffs. So there's also that. There's going to be a moment where you're losing your steam. You're not getting like fighting spirit nonstop because there's a moment in the battle where the enemy doesn't have a bunch of buffs up, and that's also problematic because she actually builds up momentum, and then when she's there, then the buffs are gone from the enemy team, and then it's like, well, what just happened? Like, I need those buffs so I can actually use my skill 3, and then she's just, you know, just using fire, skill 1, skill, like, that is bad. I didn't like that. I really didn't like that, and her damage really falls off when that happens. So yes, you need to find that sweet spot. I believe that she needs to have enough speed so she can actually cycle with her speed buff, her combat readiness increase with skill 1, and she needs to start to snowball before those buffs fall off. But in the meta right now, players are building a lot of speed, so you can't just, you know, outspeed them constantly on like Landy. Like, you're not gonna go full on speed on her, and you cannot have a bunch of combat units boosters in the team. Like, you need to have a team that you need to have the attack buff. You need to have like some sustain, or you're going full on offense. Let me talk about her artifact. What do I like about her artifact? What do I not like about it? Well, first, its greater attack buff. That is huge, 75% attack increase. So to use this properly, you don't want an attack buffer in the team. If you don't have an attack buffer, you're getting more value out of it. But you can also use it with an attack buffer. Why? Well, it's because if this thing triggers when you already have attack buff and your attack buff is lasting 2 or 3 more turns, it will be upgraded to a greater attack buff. Now that's big. So that means you can still have this thing when you have an attack buffer in the team. So that's good. You do get value if you have an attack buffer in the team, or even if you don't. If you don't, you get more value because you didn't have to use a spot in the team to get an attack buffer. But if you bring like the in, then you still have the sustain, the anti-crit with her, the barrier, and she cycles pretty fast with her skill 1, and her skill 3 gives her a lot of combat readiness. So yeah, plus she has an artifact that maybe it's rod, so she's healing more because of that. So it's a positive. An attack buffer in the team, or you don't have one, it still works. Now it is luck based. I don't like that. So this artifact is the same with her kit. So if you're wearing that artifact on her and the enemy team, their buffs are falling off, you lose your momentum. And that's huge, because if you cannot get that greater attack buff, if you solely depend on this artifact to get you a buff to boost your attack, then you're gonna fall off really hard, and then like the cooldowns of the enemy are gone, and then when they put them back up, maybe like skill nullifiers happening, Rowana drops the big heal, put the revive up, and then you don't even have a way to counter revive mechanism. So they were able to kind of like top themselves off. They're able to come back kind of when like you were bringing them lower and lower, and that's definitely unfortunate. So I feel like Landy by herself as a damage dealer, she needs a team to support her, like attack buff, defense break, like Falconer, Clury, that works out great. DN, let's say for an attack buff, you got sustain. You can do it against certain teams, but yeah, Tempest Siren is a big problem. I'll talk about the counters of Landy in a minute here. But yes, this artifact, I would say that heavily depends on who you're fighting. You need to have them have a lot of buffs throughout the battle, consistent buffs throughout the battle. So there is that. If you're fighting like a Last Rider Crow, if you hit him with an AoE, an attack that hits everyone, then he's gonna get the barrier, and that could be buffed. But also, this needs to happen on her turn, right? Because it says at the start of the turn, for each buff granted to an enemy, you have a chance to grant yourself greater attack buff. So it's 6% at plus 15, and it's 8% at plus 30. So if they have 8 buff, it's 64%. And if you have 6% chance, then it's only going to be a 48% chance to activate the greater attack buff. It's not terrible, but I don't like it. I prefer to rely on like damage that will happen even if I miss my attack. Rengar Special Drink is great. Portrait of the Saviors will have the damage increase for her skill 1, so that's pretty good too. There are other options. I'll talk about that later in the video. So in terms of who heavily counters this hero, to be honest, any team that has a setup of, like, let's say Falconer Clury into a single target damage dealer, big counter to her. She just drops like a fly, and that's the end of her unless you support her with revive. So Tempest Siren, she triggers an Alexa's basket, or she has an attack buff, she will murder her with skill number 3. It's not even funny. And a team that has a fire hero or a few fire heroes, you're already, there's more attention toward Landy. Lilius provoking her, problem. Lilius attacking her with skill 1, triggering an ally to dual attack her, problem. Because if you're unlucky, they're calling a damage dealer, one of their damage dealers. Or even if they just have one, you're just unlucky, boom, that happens. Then the damage dealer is attacked, boom, you're dead. It's over. They don't even need to have defense break on you. It's that simple. So that's a problem. Now, you build her as a bruiser, high attack, high health, some defense maybe, low speed, and yeah, you got some crit chance, some crit damage, but your offensive power will not be high enough. If you're using other heroes, let's say wherever, let's say I'm using Spectre Tenebria, so they have some single target damage dealers. Maybe they have one hero that does AoE damage. They cannot focus Spectre Tenebria, so they're focusing Landy, the hero supporting Landy. Well, to be honest, like, they are getting ignored. They're just destroying Landy. So if I had her, let's say I had the Ruel of Light, then yeah, maybe they would, they would have to take out Ruel before they work on Landy or something like that. So it would be a different situation. But in my case, trying her as a bruiser, I did not like the experience. I feel like you have to fully commit to the bruiser setup with the supporting team that is already thick, already tanky, and you need to have like a Ruel to bring her back. So yes, it's definitely rough. So I'm opting for high attack, crit damage, some survivability, but it's not my priority. And it was okay, but it's like I said before, she started to build up momentum and then she just crashed, and she crashed really hard because those buffs are gone from the enemy team, and she just auto attacks, basically skill 1, skill 1, skill 1, and then she can skill 3. It's like this thing is on a 3-turn cooldown for a while, or like it's just not happening. Like skill 3, skill 1, skill 3, skill 1, skill, like, yeah, it's skill 3, 1 1 1 3 1 1 1 3. It's bad. If you're fortunate enough to bring her against a team that has 10 buffs or higher, then yeah, you can go crazy with like full burst, like boom boom boom. You could double lots them, and like it's gonna be really bad for them. Or you can just use auxiliary laws, and then you have another combativeness booster. Like it could be like a troublemaker Crozet, which would be protecting her. She would be in the back. She would be built with higher offense. That would work. That would work. So that would be one way to go about it. She's gonna get like defense buff. She's gonna be pretty hard to take down. So that could be a strategy right there. Unfortunately, I don't have Troublemaker Crozet built on this account number 1. He's on account number 2. I have him here, but I'm not going to build same heroes across my accounts. I showcase different heroes. That's the whole purpose. So my experience with her was not that positive, but I did have some moments where, yes, with the team that I have here at the table, it worked out pretty well. You can go back in the video and check it out. Of course, Desert Joe Bazaar is not obtainable so easily. So you will need immunity set on her, and that would sort of like work as well. You could have a hero that just gives her immunity throughout the battle. I mean, it could be just, an Angelique Montmorency supporting her. And yes, you could have her as a bruiser, but if you use her as the sole damage dealer in the group, you have an attack buffer in there, defense breaker like Falconer Clury, she could do it, but teams that have a lot of sustain, that are very thick, you're going to have some trouble there. A problem with Landy is that you need to leave the team with buffs, but then you kind of have to keep them in check. Maybe you want to use a hero that removes their buffs. Well, you can't do that if you want to properly use Landy, kind of deal. So that's really unfortunate, and if they have defense buff on them, then you're losing a lot of steam, a lot of damage that will be mitigated by them. So you cannot remove their buffs, because if you remove their buffs, then she's dealing less damage. She cannot use her skill 3 as often. It's like counterintuitive. I don't like it, and that's really like, yeah, it's sort of like annoying me. Which artifact should you wear on Landy? Well, it depends. For PvE content, maybe it would just be Daydream Joker, to be honest. Now, for PvP content, PvP, you got Rengar Special Drink, always great. Especially the more buffs the team has. You could use her own artifact. Yes, you don't have an attack buffer, you could rely on that. if you feel lucky, that works. You can upgrade an attack buff into a great attack buff. That's good too. And then the constant combativeness of 10%, it's something, I guess. But to be honest, like, it's not a must pull artifact. Not even close. Not even close. Now, what artifact I feel would be really interesting on her? Here are my thoughts. Guiding Light. Guiding Light would actually be quite interesting. You have her as a bruiser or even like full offense setup, and then she would be all sorts of annoying to deal with if they don't have a few heroes that do AoE damage that hits everyone. So you don't, like, even if you go in stealth, you take 50% less damage from AoE attacks. So survivability increase right there, and then they cannot target her, and then she comes out of stealth, she goes back in stealth, it's luck based, right? But if you are fortunate enough to have it enhanced a few times, limit broken a few times, then there you go. Like, Guiding Light could be actually interesting. I feel like it could be really annoying to have that on her if she's on a bruiser setup, especially, or maybe offensive setup, a setup with like, let's say, Troublemaker Crozet protecting her, or you've got defense buff, or yes, in the team Adamant Shield, multiple layers of protection, then that would be really good, I think. Dux Noctis, the Pavel artifact, would actually work quite well because she's about snowballing, she's building that passive attack, and then you add up this artifact on top of that, and then it's even more. It's going to be a ton more attack. She's got, if this thing is maxed out, right, that's 24% attack passively, that stacks with attack buff and great attack buff. So yes, you can definitely use this artifact. But in most cases in PvE content, you're going to be fighting targets that have a lot of health, so you would just use the 3-star artifact, Daydream Joker, with 100% crit chance, unless you're at elemental advantage, or it would be 85% crit chance. And then the crit damage as high as possible, some speed, a hero that lands defense break debuff, and you're set. Boom, that's done. Rosa Hargana is an interesting artifact for her, since every time she attacks, if it's a dual attack, a counter attack, she is getting that passive, that skill too, that gives her an attack increase, right? So Rosa Hargana would help her trigger dual attacks when it's not her turn, and that attack would deal 30% more damage. So you would be able to get combativeness and more combativeness. Instead of 15%, it would be 30% if the target is buffed. So you've got that going, you're stacking up, you're building up that passive to get more attack, and yeah, that's definitely an interesting one if you don't have access to the 5-star artifacts that I talked about. If you want to have that reliable damage increase at the start of the battle, as long as the targets have 50% health or higher, then Portrait of the Saviors is definitely a great artifact, especially if you want to make things happen early on. Now, Rengar Special Drink was definitely one of my favorite one because it's reliable, and when I'm fighting tanky teams, which is very popular right now in the meta, well, Rengar Special Drink was doing quite a bit of damage. But you need to be attacking teams that have a lot of buffs, so you're actually using skill number 3 quite often. Now, in Arena, since you know who you're attacking and what kind of buff they will have, this artifact is actually very strong. Should you pull for Landy? Now, that's an easy answer for a lot of players because she's a limited hero. So when it's limited, you just go for it. Her artifact, don't chase it. No point. I don't like it. It's not good. It's not good. I definitely don't like it. I mean, it's good, but it's not worth chasing after. Now, this hero, like, I will showcase her in PvE content on my second channel, Astranox Gameplay, so stay tuned for that. And for PvP, well, I'll showcase her more in World Arena, and yeah, I'll give you guys my thoughts along the way. But so far, I didn't set the bar too high. I didn't expect too much out of this hero initially, but I knew that she needed to gain momentum to really start dealing more and more damage. But you have to keep her in play. If she goes down, then yeah, the whole plan falls falls off, you know? Whole plan gets thrown out the window. So you will need like a hero to bring her back. Revive, Ruel, or yeah, you're gonna be disappointed because she's just gonna get picked off so easily. She's not a light or dark element hero, so you always have to worry about elemental disadvantage. That's already a good enough reason not to pick, you know, an RGB hero too early on in World Arena, as you would pick them more near the end. So you have to really pick her near the end because you have to check at the roster. They need to have a lot of buffs that are going to be up throughout the battle so you can fully utilize her. But then it comes down to, like, you're at the crossroads. Like, do you pick Landy to fight their heavy buff team, or you're just going to take a hero to remove their buffs altogether? And then if you do that, well, they're not going to be such a threat. Like, if you take off defense buff, they're much easier to deal with now. So another damage dealer would be doing better than Landy, and you wouldn't have to worry about her snowballing to build momentum. Like, it's too long. It takes too long to happen. So remove their buffs and just, you know, use another damage dealer. That would be my mentality after trying her out. It feels counterintuitive. And buffs are extremely strong in this game. Like, defense buff is just insanely powerful after you add that on top of Aureus, Adamant Shield, when the heroes already have a decent chunk of defense and like they are already tanky, right? A bruiser team, a tanky team, you're gonna have a really hard time to take them out when they add those buffs. You add anti-crit buff, like, what you're trying to do, like what kind of team you're trying to fight. You're trying to fight this wall of a team. Now Landy by herself, like how long you want to wait for her to build her damage? Now she builds her damage, but even at 5 attack, I tried her even with high offense and the damage is not that amazing. Like, you still need to rely on landing maybe a defense break to really get that big damage happening against those tanky heroes. And that is if you can even land it, because they might have a lot of effect resistance. But why not use a hero that just straight up penetrate their defense without relying on defense break, is what I'm saying. You know, I prefer to go with single target damage dealers over damage dealers that hits everyone, because they have higher multipliers. The damage is higher per hit, so you can really single out these really annoying heroes or those really tanky heroes. If you take a hero that hits everyone, yes, this doesn't trigger a counter attack, but the multiplier is not so high. Even when she's fully stacked up, it's not that amazing. And then you have to worry about things that trigger other things because you hit the whole team. Like Seaside Bellona, it's not a counter. Like, it's about how many heroes you're hitting on her team, and this is just helping her counterattack more often. She's using Rengar's special drink, she's tanky, she's just gonna deal that constant stream of damage toward your team that no matter how much defense and how tanky you are, if you don't have the sustain, you won't be able to pull through if you don't take her out. Now she's like with Ruel of Light, or there's multiple layers of protection on their side. It's really, really rough. So you have to worry about all that. Where can you use Landy? Like in arena offense, it's very easy to just bring this hero along because you can know about like how many buffs they're gonna have throughout the battle, so you can really make her shine there. But when it comes down to defense, now that's a different ball game. Don't put her on defense for arena. Don't put her on defense for Guild Wars. That's not gonna end too well for you. Now for Guild War on offense, since it's a 3v3 scenario, well, there's less targets, so there's gonna be less buffs. So you're not gonna be building that momentum as fast, and that's an issue. That's an issue. But you can definitely make her shine against various team compositions, especially because she deals damage against everyone. She cannot trigger a counterattack. She deals more damage when you soul burn for 10 souls. This speed buff is going to be helpful, but when she has full fighting spirit, which is not that hard on turn 1 because you already have 50, so you need the team to have 5 buffs. So if they have a Fallen Cecilia plus 2 immunity, which is actually hard to predict, like, you know, if you're fighting in higher rank guilds, then there's going to be a higher chance they have immunity sets, of course. But it's not something you can predict 100% because maybe they don't even have you know, immunity set because they stacked a bunch of effect resistance. But to be honest, like, immunity should be on a hero that has super high effect resistance too, because it's just that powerful. It's another check that they have to go through. So yes, when it comes down to World Arena RTA with Landy, you definitely have to pick her at the end. So don't pick her too early. They're gonna pick some fire heroes. They're gonna bring heroes that don't provide buffs for their team, or they're straight up going to ban her. I mean, yes, you could bait a ban with Landy if you're picking her near the end, so there is that. But should you be building her? Should you invest MolaGora in her? Well, it depends. Do you use her in PvE content? Because I feel like she's very strong in PvE content. So if you do use her there, then yes, I mean, if you can keep her on the same build, then there you go. But if you have to swap her artifact all the time because it's going to be between Daydream Joker and, like, I don't know, whatever artifact you want for PvP, then that might be a problem. You can definitely put her to good use. It's just that there's a lot of ways that things can go wrong with this hero because she needs to build momentum. She needs turns. So in PvP, you don't have the luxury of getting many turns before heroes start dropping, which is a problem, you know, like, that's definitely an issue, as well as the various things that I talked about, weaknesses about Landy in my review earlier on. Then you have to factor all this stuff in, and to be honest, like, it's gonna be rough, but there are, of course, situations where Landy can perform well, where she's gonna shine, and pretty much not every hero in the game, but most of the heroes in the game can actually shine in a certain situation or in a certain area. So does it justify spending the MolaGora and equipping her if you're not going to be using her in PvE content? Let us know in the comment section what you think about Landy. Have you summoned her? How did it go? Did you get her artifact? If you tested her, how did you build her? What kind of team composition were you running her in? And what about PvE content? Have you tried her somewhere? I will showcase her on my second channel, Astranox Gameplay, as Maniac Hunt. I want to try her in Banshee. I want to try her in Hell Raid. I want to try her in Hall of Trials and Water Expedition. Should be a lot of fun. I feel like this hero is actually going to be pretty powerful in PvE content. The battles are longer. She's building that attack. Pretty nice. And in the Abyss, I think she can shine in quite a few stages as well. But yes, let us know in the comment section what you think about Landy. That's going to be it for this one, guys. Thanks for watching. I'm Astranox. Like, comment, and subscribe for more. Press the bell icon for like to be notified whenever I release a new video. And check out my other videos. They should be showing up on the screen now. I got playlists of all sorts for PvE and PvP content. Arena, Guild Wars, guides, tips, and how-tos, and Abyss Floor 62 Plus, as well as best starter guides for my early to mid-game players. A lot of knowledge to be had. Go check my playlist under my channel. And my second YouTube channel for Epic 7 is called Astranox Gameplay. You can see it in the pinned comment. You can see it in the description. You can see it at the top right of the screen. If you press the I, it's advertised there as well. Join my Discord, over 2,000 members. But that's it for this one. Good luck with all you do. Peace out for now.